want to step into the phone, and we've got a very exciting guest with us today. We've got Patricia Seuchie from Virginia joining us today. And we're going to be finding out a little bit more about the work that Patricia does at the university in Virginia. So Patricia, welcome, and thank you for joining us. So just to start, can you tell us a little bit more about who you are, what the work you're doing at CNU, and the job you do there?
Okay, thank you so much for having me on board on this project, and thank you for this opportunity to talk about myself. I'm very bad at doing that, talking about myself, but that's okay, I'll try. Okay, so I'm Patricia Seuchie, and I'm originally from Cameroon in Central Africa. I came to the US 15 years ago as a graduate student to Pennsylvania State University, that's in Pennsylvania, to do my PhD program in French and Francophone studies. Prior to that, I have studied in Cameroon, where I was born. And so after my PhD at Penn State, I got a job here at Newport University. This is in Virginia. And here I teach French language and Francophone literature. Francophone literature meaning literature in French, or French expression, but outside of France. And I focus on the literature of the Caribbean and in Africa, Sub-Saharan Africa and North Africa. And my main focus is on the issues of immigration, including all the problems of traveling of former Francophone French colonies, people from French colonies to France, and everything that goes along with that, the problems of identity, problems of culture, of that, of those people when they arrive there in France. How do they settle? What are the difficulties that they encounter? And are they welcome or not? And how does their identity is constructed in this new environment? And also we have in the background all the economical problems, because it's not all to look at those people as just people who are going to France, as it is presented as a better place. But my question, one of the questions that I also ask in my work is that why do they go to France? Recently, we have seen massive traveling and a lot of tragic situations on the Mediterranean, how they die and they keep striving to go there. And you ask, why would they die in the Mediterranean? And the problem, in my opinion, is economical problems. Why in Africa do they have all those economical problems? The general rhetoric and the general rhetoric is that they don't want to work and they just want to go to France. But in reality, how would you understand that such a rich continent with all the resources that they have, they cannot use it? It's because somewhere in the background, there is still this colonization going on that nobody wants to talk about. So all those Western powers continue to rule somehow in Africa. And so African people don't always have control in their resources. Yes, some, like the minority of the official government, but how about the rest of the people? I like to look at those things and just discuss them.
Yeah.
Migration is not just people moving from Africa, crossing the Mediterranean, dying in the boats and all that to go to France. It's a lot more behind that. So that's basically what I do here. Yeah.
Great. Wow, that's a lot of work. And I mean, I'm really interested in those issues, identity, migration, displacement, how people are really finding their ways in Western after leaving Africa is really very much what I talk a lot in some of the work I do. So really interesting. I would really like to find out a bit more after this interview, even to follow up with you about that. I know also you've been involved in some work with the African Literature Association. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do there and what's that organization do?
Actually, African Literature Association is a very old association here in the US. I think it was founded in if I remember correctly, 73 by a group of Africanist scholars here in the US. So professors that focus on the studies of Africa of any kind, especially literature. We have another association, African Studies Association. So it includes everybody, historian, literature and everything. But African Literature Association is just for literature, Francophone and Anglophone literature. Okay. So we meet once a year. That's one of the biggest, if not the biggest, literature association here in North America that focuses on African literature. So we meet once a year for a conference. And then there are also a lot of caucuses that are involved in the association. I myself, I am particularly involved with the Francophone caucus. And in that we try to promote Francophone African literature and all the issues that are discussed in that literature.
Yes, here in the UK, the Francophone study is not, I don't think it's as big as it is in the US. I mean, the studies of languages is slowly dying in the UK. I came to the UK to study languages, to do translation, and I did Francophone literature actually. So I was studying some of the Caribbean literature. But it's not very popular now, and a lot of the modern languages departments in university in the UK have closed down because people don't really want to study languages anymore. So I was quite interested to see what was the take-up. Is it still very popular for Francophone studies in America?
I would say it's not as popular as it was like 50 years ago or 40 years ago. Languages, like you say, in the UK, it's the same trend even here, but they are not dying yet. Spanish language, for example, is very popular in the US. My department, for example, I'm from a department of modern languages and classical studies. We have like for a 200 level Spanish class, we have like 40 sections of that, whereas French is a little on the lower side, which is understandable because, you know, I mean, Spanish here with the Latin America or South America being so close tends to be more popular. But still, French is still finding its way around. It's not dying, but it's really reduced, I would say.
Okay. What about the challenges? I mean, you moved from Africa to America. What have been the challenges you found being African woman in America, but also during your career, but also what sorts of successes you've had over the years moving to America. Can you tell us a little bit more?
Challenges. When I first came here, you know, when you transfer and you go to an unknown culture, it's always challenging.
Mm.
Culture shock was the first challenge I had to face or experience when I first came here. Coming from Africa, especially Francophone Africa, we're not very familiar with the American culture. For the least, we will know the British culture,
right,
the British language, which in the Francophone context, we know very little. I had to take English at school, but it's just one class, English. And there's this Francophone mentality. I don't know how it's perceived in France, but there's this Francophone mentality that French culture and French civilization is the best, is superior. So even coming from Cameroon, which is a bilingual country officially, we have French and English both as official languages because historically we were colonized by those two countries, but still the French culture tends to be dominant. With that, coming to the US, I had no idea. The only things I knew about America was the few things that we see on TV from Hollywood and that, which is totally like just a hint of what the American culture is. You have to go to class, you still have to register for your classes, you don't know the dynamic of the time and all that. It was a real challenge for me. And also the language. I didn't speak English at all when I came to the US, yet I was enrolled in a PhD program and I had to take classes from the very first day in English. It was terrible. It was difficult. It was. So I had to deal with that. And it was very difficult to prepare for classes, prepare for seminars at the PhD program. You have a lot of readings to do in English. Try to translate. I had my dictionary, but it didn't take me too far. It was hard. It was hard. And then also Penn State University is in central Pennsylvania, a kind of rural area. It's a very not multi-ethnic place. So as a Black woman, I didn't have much people looking like me identify with. That could have been a support, but I found a couple friends. They became very good friends up to today. And Black girls, they really supported me because it helps when you transfer to an unknown place, unfamiliar place like that. It helps to see people who are like you, who share some cultural characteristics or cultural things like you. It really helps. And I'm very grateful for those two girls. They are my sisters. They really helped me. So those are the challenges that, yes, I encountered.
Yeah, I can relate about the culture shock. I mean, I remember moving to the UK. I thought I knew a bit of English, but realizing arriving in London, my English was not that good. And starting university, yeah, my English wasn't good enough. I mean, I was only in a degree program, so I couldn't even imagine doing a PhD. So yeah, lots of respect to you. What do you think has been kind of helping you to succeed and get to the position you are today? Because I mean, it's a lot to overcome. What has been the main thing you would say that helped you succeed?
I think work. being in that situation with all those challenges, I think I've just thrown myself into working hard, hard work, and that has helped a lot. One of the other challenges I didn't mention is that living in that kind of environment, it always comes with a lot of stereotypes that people have about people like me. And all those stereotypes about Africa, they don't say it, but sometimes you can feel it. So one of the things I had to do was to work hard to affirm those kind of stereotypes. I would stay up all night to read, to work. Looking back at where I came from, I came here to acquire a kind of knowledge to help my continent, to help my country. So I didn't have any excuse telling myself that I have to do this, be successful, no matter what the conditions are. I had to work hard. Central Pennsylvania, it's cold, really cold. After living under 80 degrees all my life, you land in a place where it easily goes below zero. And from October to March, April, you have to be in boots because it's really cold. It's all white outside with snow. So yeah, you really had to work hard. And it has really helped me.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, this is part of the reason I'm doing all this interview, is because I wanted to showcase some of what women from Africa and from the diaspora have to go through some time to get to where they are, but also to inspire the younger generation out there to look up that, you know, we need to work hard, you need to have resilience, you need to stay strong. And I call this woman the modern queen of this generation, and you are one of our queen. So I wanted to find out a little bit more, because at the moment, you know, the media always say, oh, this African queen, I'm a queen, and there's a lot of word being thrown around queen. What does that word mean anything to you? Does it resonate? How do you see it?
A queen, if you take the simple definition of a queen, she's the ruler of a kingdom. She has power, that kingdom. But for me, as an African woman, even if I don't have a kingdom, even if we don't always have a kingdom, we don't always have a community to rule over, we have ourselves. I think it helps a lot. It gives you, it strengthens you to wrap your mind around the idea that you own yourself. You are the ruler of yourself. So take control of yourself. It will help you move on. Because if you can't have control of yourself, if you can be independent, it holds you back. So a queen would be someone who can at least have control of his or of herself, and that will push you up. That will give you the strength to do whatever you want to do to succeed. Yeah.
That's really powerful, because I think it's one thing the younger generation and even my generation really struggle with, is that embracing our own power, taking control of our own life, and actually we don't realize that we can't decide and take control of the way we make decisions, the way we move forward in our life. And I think that is really something to think about. Is that
I know also, I apologize.
Oh, it's okay.
I want to notice or underline that we don't always have control. There are certain circumstances can be challenging around us, but yeah, still have that idea of controlling whatever you can control. Maximum of it's going to push you up.
Yeah, and using those challenges as almost a springboard to because I think as a society we tend to take challenges as a failure, but it's a way for us to learn. So it's kind of part of the package, I suppose.
Yeah.
Is there any women, men, kings and queens out there that you look up when you grow up, and even now, is there anybody you inspire to, or really help you to focus when you're feeling down, for example, and remember that person that, okay, we need to carry on?
I like that question, and I want to start with my mom. My mom is my hero. She inspired me. This is a woman who raised 5 kids, a single mom in the African culture, where a woman who is not married is kind of looked down upon. At least back then. It has changed now. But back then, a woman who is without a man was kind of looked down upon. But for some reasons, she has found herself in that. I can write a book on how she happened to find herself raising 5 kids by herself, but she did with very limited resources. She worked hard. She worked hard so that we would not lack anything. We didn't have a lot, but we had a minimum. And she taught me to be content with what I have, and that should not hold me back from moving on, from doing what I have to do. She really emphasized education for a woman. One of the problems she had in her life was that she was not able to continue her education. And she knew that an educated woman can accomplish a lot. So she instilled the love of education in me. And I'm very grateful that she did that. And so I would say my mom.
Wow,
I would
that's
say my
beautiful.
mom.
Really beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, she. But along the way, I've looked at other women that really inspired me. One of them being, among others, Michelle Obama. I look at that woman with a lot of respect with what she has accomplished. Because I feel like I have a kind of similar background as her, coming from a poor family, and then being able to find her way out to the highest, one of the highest place that someone can be. I think that's an example that women that look like us should look at. So I have tremendous respect for that woman.
Yeah, I mean, she's a tremendous woman. So my final question is really, before I let you go and not take too much of your time, is what advice would you give to a younger person out there, or maybe your younger version? What would you tell that person with what you know now?
There's one thing that we should always hold dear: the ability to work. Hard work. Everybody should strive to work hard. I think it pays off always. And also respect yourself. The way you carry yourself, the weight you put in yourself, that's how the others will look at you. If you take yourself or you self yourself lightly, others will take yourself lightly. So put a lot of dignity in the way you look at yourself. Accept yourself the way you are. Everybody has something. Everybody has a gift. Don't underestimate even the smallest thing, the smallest gift that you have. It is something, hold dear to that, cherish it, and work to improve it. Work hard to improve it. It's going to take you places.
Wow, that was beautiful again. Thank you so much for stepping to the front with us today. It's just really wonderful for you to share your stories with us. And I'm sure I'll be contacting you again because I would want to find out a bit more about your work and yourself. So I'm sure I'll be in contact again.
I'll be glad to.
Thank you very much for your time. And
you're very welcome.
speak soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.